Okay, so tonight's demo is about a gold bell for the holidays. So I'm going to show you how to get that glowing gold bell look that makes it look round, as well as have a glow where the light's hitting it. And it's going to be adorned with some holly and holly berries on the top. Okay, and I took this from inspiration from a digital image that I found online. This is what it looks like. Okay, so these are these wonderful new artificial intelligence created art designs that I feel like it's okay if we use these for inspiration. Because they're artificially created in the first place. I don't know if that's a good thing, bad thing, whatever, but I'm gonna go for it until somebody tells me to stop. Okay. All right, so let's get overhead and we will start this demo. Okay, so here I have sketched out my bell shape, okay? And I wanna point out a couple of things, all right? It's not hard to draw a bell. Let me come back just a little more. There we go, right there. It's not hard to draw this bell. Just let me show you a couple of the tips that I use to create the shape. So first of all, you want to get a nice flat oval, okay? So it's easy enough to create a flat oval. This one is about 2 fingers wide. So all you would do is make a line. You place your fingers and kind of find your center. So if you know your bell, you want your bell to be this wide, you could put a mark on either end of how wide you want it to be, and then just line your fingers up centered across that between those 2 marks and put a mark on either side of your fingers. Okay, once you have those, then you can just easily connect, curve it over, all right, and come all the way through. So that's pretty simple. All right, and then up from there, you decide how high you want your bell. In this case, I wanted my bell to be a nice tight 5 fingers high. So then I find the center of my bell and I come up and put a mark right there. Okay, from there, I can do a nice arc. All right, and then I come down here and I create a sweeping arc right here, a concave mark right there. Opposite side, I do the same thing over here, all right? And then I just join those 2 sections from this side and that side. And that's your bell shape, okay? And you can tweak things from that point. And if you struggle with, you know, a rounded shape, you can go in, just like we did an oval here, you could do a circle here just to get that round shape on the top if that helps you, all right? At that point, then I again found the center line for my bell right through here, and I put the clapper coming out and curving out into the bald end on the clapper right there. And that was it. Then I'm just made some marks up here where I want to place my leaves, so I can make sure that I put them in a pleasing array. Okay, so maybe I want another one right there, and then just place my berries as well. You don't have to go into all that, but if you want to get a nice design for your bell, that's what I did. Okay. All right, so let's get on our foam plate. I want to put out my colors for the underpainting for my bell. All right, so I'm going to put out some yellow ochre when we're working with a gold or a bronze, copper color, I should say. You want to have a similar matte tone underneath, or satin. So I'm going to combine that with a little bit of coffee latte. Oops, that's a little messy. So put some coffee latte out there. And then for my darker tones, for my shading, etc., I'm going to use some asphaltum. This is a color that Donna's been using a lot of lately, especially in fall paintings. I like this because it's got reddish tones to it with the brown dominance, okay? And this is a matte acrylic rather than our multi-surface acrylic, so it has a little bit less sheen to it, which will lend to the look that I'm trying to create with this, okay? So it's a little thicker as well. You can kind of see it's holding its shape. So that's what we need. And then for the highlights on here, I want a lighter color yellow. So I'm going to get a little bit of daffodil, I don't need much, and a little bit of white. So I'm going to put that out. Okay. Now for our bell, our berries and our holly leaves, I'm just using some standard sap green and citrus green. And we'll brighten and enhance those leaf colors with some of our berry colors, okay? So my berry colors, I'm going to put out some apple red. Oh, I thought I had enough. I do. That's enough to do the berries with. And then I'm going to use the asphaltum to darken parts of those berries, or the green I could use too. Okay. All right, so those are all my colors. Let me just go through them again. I have asphaltum, coffee latte, yellow ochre, daffodil yellow, wicker white, sap green, citrus green, and apple red. And then I need some floating medium. Come on, there we go. You need quite a bit of floating medium to work with these mops, and the mop is what I'm going to use to get the background color of my bell on fairly quickly, and also some of the highlights and shading. All right, so let's come down a little closer. There we go. And we're going to go to the side here. All right. So first thing I want to do, let me back up just a little because I want you to see the palette as well as the design. So I've got my large mop. This is the 3/4 inch mop. And I'm going to load this with quite a bit of floating medium. All right, so you're just picking up medium, working it into the bristles of the mop. Okay, so you want it pretty full. And then I'm going to come over here and get some yellow ochre. And then I'm going to pick up some coffee latte and blend that in with it. All right, we're going for kind of a coppery background color. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just come right up here. And these mops are wonderful because you can get a nice chisel edge. See how I'm having a nice edge out here? And with that medium, it's not dry and skippy. Okay. And we're going to come actually right into the middle of our bell. Get a little more medium, work that in with the yellow ochre and a little coffee latte, and we're going to come down this side. See how nicely that covers? And it gets right to those edges. Oops. A little wide of it, but that's okay. All right, and then we're going to come down here. So we're just basing in the whole shape of the bell with that medium and yellow ochre, coffee latte. Still have not tried those mop brushes, Hunley. You got to get out and get those in your hands, and you are going to love them, especially if you're doing anything with this kind of where you need to do all this underpainting or base coating. It really makes a difference. All right, so we got the clapper there, and there we go. Okay, so I've got my bell shape in. Let me get the little stem up here. We have a smaller mop for smaller areas, but I've got that on my brush, so it's working. Okay, so now what I want to do is notice inside, right? There's a glow inside, and then it's dark on either side, and there's a much brighter glow because the light is coming at it from this direction. There's a much brighter glow on the roundness of the bell itself. So I'm going to work on first getting this glow inside here, and copper has a little bit of a reddish tint to it. So I'm going to grab some red, come over here, and work that in with my yellow ochre, get some more medium. All right, and I'm going to come right in here. Let me come down just a touch here. Right in here. All right, and we're going to lighten up, including the clapper, because it is hitting the clapper with that light too. Okay, so can you see that's adding just a touch of that red tone? Now I'm going to pick up just a little bit of the yellow, the daffodil yellow, right in here, and we're going to work that in while that's still wet. A little more. There we go. So you see I'm just letting that blend with the colors in the background. And you see how that's creating that glow right in there? Let's get now just a touch of white. And we're going to work that in really well. And I'm flipping my brush, so I'm keeping kind of that darker edge out there and the lighter edge is in the middle. So you see how that glow is created there? Let me come back and get a little of this red again. And wipe off my brush and just work this in here on the outside edge. There and there. So you're framing that lighter area of glow. So see how that's working? And that's exactly what I wanted it to do. Okay. Now let's come back. We're going to get some more medium. And I'm going to work on the darker area. So I'm going to get some of this asphaltum right in the center of my brush. So I'm picking that up on the center edge of the brush. All right. And we're going to come right in here. And I keep picking up this little yellow flake. Go away. All right, so we're going to come right down here. And see how that's going to darken that glow. These are the new mop brushes. They're available on onestroke.com. Right, Donna Dewberry demonstrated these several times in her lives. And she's been sharing how to work with them. And one of the ways that we work with them is with floating medium or water. Okay, so I just keep picking up that asphaltum with the medium while it's still wet, working it into this area here. And I'm kind of avoiding that center where I'm going to put all those highlights. Okay. All right, more medium, a little more asphaltum. All right, and we're going to come right in here. And we're going to darken these curves. Now, this is probably where I want to switch to the smaller. All right, so let's get the smaller mop. That was a 3/4. This is the 1/2 inch mop. Okay, so we're going to get this loaded with medium. There we go. And then we'll pick up some of that asphaltum. And we can work in a smaller area with this. All right, so this is different from shading. All right, when we shade, we're pushing the paint up against an edge. In this case, I want to kind of spread this around in a larger area. So this mop really works to do that, all right? And I'm going to get some more with the medium, and we're going to come into this area here. Flip the brush over so you can control where it touches the edge. And I'm going to wipe off this left edge so that I don't get too much of that into my pink area, but I'm going to get just a touch of that red. And then I have my clean mop right here that I can kind of wipe that off with. Okay, so can you see how it's getting darker over in this space? So it's a bit of a layering process, and then let it dry and layer a little more. So we'll come back over here and darken in that space. Let that dry up a little bit, get some medium on here, and I'm going to come right along this, let me pick up a little more, along this curve here and here. Okay, now our clapper comes through here. And so it's dark, as it's not right out in that glow yet. And then on this side, there we go. And this side. Okay, so now we have our dark areas in place, and then we have our light glow. All right, and I'm going to clean that brush, and we're going to start to work on the glow in the center, which is going to be brighter and a layering of narrower and narrower color. So I've got my brush cleaned, and I'm going to put medium on it. And first we're going to start with some daffodil yellow, loaded on that brush. Yes, you do need to get these mop brushes while they have them in stock, because they go out of stock really fast, so check those out. And I happen to know for a fact that Donna's going to be starting a new special coupon code on her YouTube channel tomorrow. So if you watch for her to be on there tomorrow, you can pick up that new coupon code. All right, so we're adding some of this in here. We're going to sweep it up and down. We're going to pull it across here. And then right in there. Oops, that's a lot. Wow. Don't need to pick up that much. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take some of that yellow and we're going to highlight on this outer edge here. Not much paint is used in this, guys, so you're using lots of medium and then adding the paint in small quantities to the brush. See that? We're going to add a little bit of this back here and here. So now you're starting to see it come alive with a little bit of a glow. And we're almost there. All right, so now let's come get more medium. We still have yellow in this brush, and then I'm going to get some white and work that in with the yellow. Okay, so we're going to get medium, white, and yellow. So now we have a much lighter glow, and we're going to very sparingly apply this in here. All right, that's very wet in there. I don't know if you can tell, but it is. And then we're going to come right in here. See that? And then right in here. So we're layering light upon light. Get more white. And right in the middle of that, we're going to put just another lightness. Okay, now I'm going to clean this brush in water again in my basin. And I want to get as much of this water out on my paper towel as I can. All right. And we're going to just very lightly, oops, I got too much water still in there, so I picked up that white, but we'll put that back in. You want to just kind of soften and brush this out. I'm going to get just a touch of yellow. Now I'm going to get medium and a touch of the asphaltum. And we're going to bring this together with our light colors, medium and a touch of asphaltum. All right. And you're following the shape of the bell with the asphaltum up and around and down the other side. Pick up a little bit of that yellow, work that in, a little asphaltum, work that in, and you're just letting these colors soften together, okay? Medium, little asphaltum. Work it across this space right here. So this is creating a glow without our metallic paint, and it's controlling where the glow is. Metallic paint glows where you move it so that the light hits it. And every time you move it, the light hits it in a different spot. This, you're saying my light is always hitting this spot right here on my bell, and it will always be there. So we're controlling the glow. All right, so we're coming down a little more medium with the asphaltum, and we're going to pull this back together. I'm going to wipe off what I picked up there because I didn't want that much yellow down there to begin with. So you're just wiping it off on paper towel. All right, and we've got the glow that we want. All right, now, so I've wiped my brush off. I don't have any paint on here. I'm going to get just a touch of white and I'm going to tap it off on my paint. I'm going to come right up here, tap that on, make sure this brush is dry. Okay, so dried it off real good, and we're going to tap that out, soften it in. All right, see how that softened that into a nice pretty white light glow? So we're going to come down here, we're going to tap this out, tap that out, and right in there. Okay, we kind of let that dry just a little, not all the way. Come back in with this mop that's just barely damp. All right, and you're just softly tapping that to soften that paint, okay? You're not wiping the white away, you're just softening it into that yellow. See how that's created that glow now? Isn't that something? All right, so we have our glowing metal. Now all we need to do is go to our flat brushes. I'm going to put those in water, and I'm going to pick up my 16 flat. All right, I'm going to get that damp, and I'm going to load it with medium. Now this is shading, and this is highlighting, all right? This is different. So we're going to side load the asphaltum. So I got medium on the whole brush, and then I'm side stroking the asphaltum, okay? Keeping that on like a third of the left side of my brush. All right, and so now we're going to come right under here with that color to the outside edge, and we're going to stroke, pushing that shading into that corner of the bell right there. We're going to darken just, and it's controlled. It's more controlled than what we were using with the mop, okay? Over here, same thing. We're going to push that in that corner and pull it out. Okay. We're going to come right up against that clapper. And this is going to help push our bell behind the clapper. Can you see that? I'm going to get a little more medium, and I'm going to get some of this asphaltum on the corner of my brush. I want to just darken in here just a little more. All right, see that? Medium. Okay, so I'm hoping, it's part of the reason that I do these demos is to provide you with just a short lesson on things, but it's also my way of showing you how I teach. This is exactly how I would teach a class. And so if you're wondering, do you want to take a class from me? This is how I teach. It's my style. A lot of people say I'm very calming, my voice. My husband never says that though. Okay, so I have that all shaded, I think the way I want it. Let's get this softened in here a little better. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to address my clapper. So the clapper has the stem right here, and then it goes around dark like that, right? Make sure that's dry up there. It wasn't. Okay, so you want to kind of see that roundness of the stem, but it's still pretty dark up in here. And then around, more medium, around this side. This is what gives it that rounded look. You have to have a little bit of light and dark on the edges. And so in this case, it's dark on both edges. One's stronger than the other. This side's darker, that side's lighter. All right, and then on the bottom, and the light is hitting it right here in the center. Okay, so see how that works? And then we want to bring that up. There we go. All right, so there's our clapper. And then all we need to do at this point is we want to define the trim work on this bell, which is right in this line right here. So I'm going to turn my design around, and I'm going to come with the color on the left side of my brush. And then we lift to the chisel coming through here, just to define the line without the shade. And then we'll come over here and do the same thing. We come through and meet up with that. Okay, so there we have our beautiful bell. And we want to finish the top up here. So we've got, oops. Right there, a little bit of a shading. And then, and you may not even see this as I paint the leaves on here and then put the berries on, but we'll see parts of it, okay? So that's all I'm going to worry about, is that much right there. Okay, wow, that looks really good. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm pretty happy with it. All right. Okay, so now let's take this same brush. We're going to come over here and we're going to load, let's get some medium, and we're going to load our two greens. Now these holly leaves tend to be mostly dark with just light outer edges. Okay, so it's mostly the heavier, darker green. And then we're side loading, let's turn it this way. Side loading the lighter green. So we have sap green, and then we're side stroking some light green. All right, now we're going to come up here. Let's come down a little further. And so we have a layering of leaves. So we're going to start with this one right in back here. Now you can do holly in lots of different ways. You can stand up to peaks like that, and then to the chisel edge for the tip. And I'm going to turn, no, I got to turn it, sorry. All right, so you go wide, and then you come in more and more, and then stand up. Okay. Or let me side load just a little bit of yellow on this light green edge when you're layering color upon color that is the same, sometimes you have to opt for a slightly different shade. Or you can get more rounded and you're just kind of wiggling out to points like that. Okay? Either one looks good. And we will do more of these leaves in my class on Tuesday when we do the wreath around the neck of the reindeer. So you'll get lots of opportunity to practice these. And I like to add colors to them so that they're not just the greens, but maybe reflecting a little bit of the colors around them. So what I like to do is I'm going to come grab just a little bit of this apple red on the dark green edge and work that in, oops, with my dark green a little bit more. And this is going to tint my leaves. Let's get some medium because we're on paper. All right, so right here. And you see how that tints the inside of that leaf with that bit of red. Okay, so that's another way to look at them. I'm going to side load just a little bit of white. This is going to give it a slightly different look. There. So lots of different ways you can make these holly leaves pop out in your design. There we go. Thank you all for the very kind comments. Some of you have been on Donna and Mark Dewberry's Patreon membership and shared your appreciation of my demos and lessons with Donna and Mark, and she tells me what you all say, and I just want to say thank you for that because that's very sweet. She's very pleased that you all care so much for my painting as well. All right, so we want to come in here. I don't want my hand to get in the way. There we go. All right, so we've got a nice little spray of holly leaves around the top of this ornament. And then the last thing we want to do is add some pretty holly berries. So I've got my 1/4 inch dauber here. I'm going to tap this into the apple red and push and twist to load it, okay? So by itself, it's a pretty red, but if you come and get just a little bit of the brown or a little bit of the green on one edge for shading. Let's back up just a little bit here. All right, how pretty would this look like on your Christmas greeting cards that you send out to your family and friends this season? I think I want the green because that brown's not looking as pretty. Okay, so a little bit of green mixed in with the red. You don't see it as green. It actually just looks like a darker red, okay? A little more of the red. So I want to make these a little bit bigger. I'm going to just go around and then tap, and that's going to give me a slightly larger berry. Okay. And we'll add one over here. I'm putting the dark color to the bottom so that will emphasize the shading of that where it's placed. Like that. All right, so I've got plenty of berries, I think, in the background here. What I want to do now is put some in the foreground. So I want those to be just a little bit lighter. I'm going to come and tap into just a little bit of yellow, all right, on that opposite edge from the green, all right, and that's going to kind of orange it up a little bit without turning it pink. Okay, So then with that up, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to push and turn, and I'm going to make a little bit of a circle so I can make it bigger. And it didn't quite lighten it up as much as I wanted. Let me get a little more yellow and work that in. There we go, and tap that in there. There we go. So a little more yellow, and then the red will come right in here. There we go. So see how those are standing out just a little better? And we'll put one more right there. Let me get a little more yellow. Push and twist. Make a circle. Okay, so those stand out in front of the ones in the back. Then you can come in and just push and twist some smaller ones. Let me get just all red here. And build that out. Okay. So there we have a really pretty arrangement. Now, not quite done, because I feel like this needs just a little something more. These berries, I want to have kind of a dark end on them. So I'm going to take my stylus. You could use a Kiss Daughter, you could use a pencil, and I'm just going to dip into some sap green, and I'm going to come in here and put just a little end on these. That's going to make them just a slightly more interesting look. There we go. Now, lastly, I feel like it needs some pine sprays. So let's come back with the 16 flattener 2 greens. And I'm going to get a bunch of white on the light green so that this is a different color. And we're going to come in, so let me just back out. I don't think purple would look good with this, Jeannie, but you could do a gold ribbon, you could do red, teal. All right, so just a few little sprays of pine needles, and we're going to add a third because we like a triangle, right? Okay. Oh, heavy-handed. There we go. All right, so there we have a really nice glowing bell using our mops, our new mop brushes. And I'm just going to come in with a little bit of white. I've got floating medium, and I'm going to side load just a little bit of white, and we're going to come right in here, do a little half round bell there, or dot there. Tap it out. And up here. A little bit of yellow. I was trying to just brighten it up a little bit, and maybe I should have just left it alone. There, we'll just kind of soften that into the background. I like that better. So the nice thing about multi-surface paint is you just take a damp brush, even on paper, and you can get it right off of there. Oops. Well, I don't know, Lee. I don't know if I like that white on there, so I'm taking it back off. But you could do it and see if you like it. I think it helped down there, but maybe just tap a little white. Remember, I said I was trying this, so we were going to see how it came out. So maybe that works. That works better. And then just soften that edge right there. You guys are awesome. There we go. All right, I like that. A little bit of finger painting, right? Makes it all good. Okay guys, so that is our demo for tonight. We've got just a little bit of asphalt I'm going to put back in there and tap that out. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was inspirational. You know, I feel like I need one last thing on here. These berries are just looking a little too flat, so I'm going to come get my script liner, a little bit of white, inky white, and I'm going to just, well, I don't want that too wet. I'm going to come in here and we're going to just touch a little bit of a glow, a little bit of a highlight on the tops of these berries. There we go. All right, so that'll help them just kind of stand out a little bit. Oh, seriously. There we go. All right, so that helped. A little bit of yellow. So lighten up those berries a little bit. See that? All right, so now I'm going to get a little bit of inky green here and we're going to sign it. Put this on a holiday card. I think this would be so pretty. With maybe a dreamy little background there. You could use your mops to do a glowy evergreen background. And then come in and get an old toothbrush with some white. And we're going to just fly speck that. A little bit of snow, and there we go.